Minimalist architecture, purity and simplicity in design. Minimalist architecture is, by definition, the purest expression of design. Although it originated in the early 20th century, the movement continues to be a trend nearly 100 years after its conception. Throughout its existence, minimalist architecture has experienced ups and downs and transformations, but its essence has remained: architectural purity and simplicity. The success of this style lies in the calm and relaxation that its spaces convey. While design concepts may vary from era to era, the necessary livability is still maintained. Therefore, it is time to delve into the history, characteristics, and representation of minimalist architecture. When did minimalist architecture begin? To understand its origin, it is first essential to know its historical and architectural context. Generally speaking, minimalism is an aesthetic mutation of the values of modern architecture. Modernism emerged in Europe due to two events: the Industrial Revolution and World War I. The Industrial Revolution, which ended in the mid-19th century, brought about the possibility of creating new materials for construction, such as steel, concrete, and glass, and it also enabled mass production of these materials. Meanwhile, World War I at the beginning of the 20th century forced architects of that time to design under standards of savings and austerity due to the impact the war had on the European economy. For this reason, modern architecture, which originated around 1920, built its works between concrete panels and steel structures, without decorations, adornments, or elements outside the essential. It also rejected any historical inclination, representing a watershed in design trends. Years later, functionalism, which was a branch of modern architecture that argued that form follows function, mutated. Simple aesthetics became the objective to be achieved at all costs. In 1930, the famous phrase, "less is more," laid the foundation for what is now known as minimalist architecture. By the 1970s and 1980s, this style gained more traction, though by the early 21st century, it was no longer recreated as frequently as before. Despite this, its aesthetics were reborn with greater strength, and contemporary architecture elevated minimalism to its pinnacle. What does minimalist style mean? As its name suggests, minimalism is about maximizing the minimal. For this style, highly valued by contemporary architecture lovers, the most important aspect is finding beauty in the simplicity and purity of design. It also appeals to architectural honesty. Hence, it does not include any extra decorative elements, and its spaces convey a balance between shapes and colors. The plasticity of minimalist architecture is based on straightness, unlike other currents derived from functionalism, such as organic architecture. Thus, it is common to see clean volumes with right angles and pure geometries. Additionally, facades are one of the most important elements of this style. They maintain careful and visually striking designs while having a sensitive axis in harmony with simplicity. Regarding the color palette, minimalism favors neutral tones, giving depth to its spaces through different shades of the base color. Although the materials used are few, as the style adheres to a limited catalog, contrasts are achieved by hierarchizing an element through textures or juxtaposing planes, whether extruded or recessed. The minimalist movement had such an impact that it extended even into painting, music, fashion, and interior design. The latter has even gained more relevance than architecture itself, as spaces accompany users in their daily lives. The concept of minimalist architecture is maintained in interior design. The spaces express an atmosphere of serenity thanks to the monochromatic color palette and straight lines, adding one more characteristic: lighting. This element is vital in any optimal design, regardless of the movement to which it belongs. But in minimalism, it plays a leading role as it accentuates the purity of spaces, their clean lines, and the overall balance among planes, colors, spatial qualities, and even furniture.